Welcome back to the Daily Taoist Podcast with Will S. We are talking about the Tao Te Ching, the Beatitudes, Stoicism sometimes, and how to get back into spirit and alignment with the way of things. The Tao Te Ching was written around 2,500 years ago by a man named Lao-Tzu. It is one of the oldest texts in existence and certainly one of the wisest. Its wisdom and its message is as relevant and important now as it was back then, if not more so. It is vital that we learn to come back into balance with the natural world, to live in a more harmonious and selfless way. And the Tao Te Ching beautifully instructs us in bringing ourselves and our lives into alignment with the Tao. Today, I will be talking about verse 31. Verse 31. Weapons are the tools of violence. A decent man will avoid them, except in the direst necessity, and if compelled, will use them only with the utmost restraint. Peace is his highest value. If peace is his true objective, how can he rejoice in the victory of war? His enemies are not demons, but human beings like himself. He doesn't wish them personal harm, nor does he rejoice in victory. How could he rejoice in victory and delight in the slaughter of men? With the slaughter of multitudes, we have grief and sorrow. Every victory is a funeral. When you win a war, you celebrate by mourning. This uncompromising verse is a simple and clear message. Peace is to be our highest objective, and war is to avoid it at all cost. Even if we are on the winning side of a war, so much death and suffering has been inflicted on both sides that the end result can only be grief and suffering. This message is as relevant now as it has ever been. War is not the way forward, and all tools of violence must be set aside. One of the biggest evils in the world is that of dehumanization. We demonize our enemies, reducing them to mere caricatures in our minds, thus legitimizing our will to fight and kill them. We have to go beyond the labels, the stereotypes, and generalizations that we plaster over other people and recognize our innate oneness, celebrating all that we share in common and letting go of our perceived differences. We can put this verse into practice by making a commitment to end all the acts of violence that we casually and often unthinkingly perpetrate in our daily lives. Such acts include speaking or behaving unkindly or aggressively to another person, being thoughtless or impatient, or dehumanizing another human being by labeling them in some way. Instead, we can replace all such acts of violence, however slight they may seem, with conscious acts of peace, kindness, and compassion. This is living the Tao. All right. This is a very relevant verse still in 2021. When this was written in January 2012, I'm sure there was other conflicts going on, but nothing like what we're seeing here at a global level. For a lack of a better word, we have entered into a period of ideological warfare. Not so much a physical war, but a war of ideologies, left and right, right and wrong, vaxxed and unvaccinated. there are peaceful demonstrations going on, at least across Canada right now. I know in the United States, there are some demonstrations going on in New York City to mourn some of the vaccine injuries in New York City. Australia is standing up as well. Apparently their lockdown situation is completely intolerable. Not to mention the situation that's going on in Afghanistan with the Taliban taking back their country. We are definitely living through some of the most interesting and fundamentally divisive times we have ever experienced, in my opinion, since most specifically World War II, right? Which was a physical war, but it was also a war of ideologies, freedom, liberty. We are quietly letting those things be taken away from us with COVID passports, and not, and allowing the government to mandate vaccinations. At this point in time, it's very important that you make an informed decision for yourself. Don't allow, the propaganda engine to tell you what to do. Right? There is so much abundance in this world, and yet we're told that, we should live in scarcity and potentially, go to some sort of involuntary servitude, and it's time to center yourself in the Tao. And the way I see it, we're in the darkest timeline from my perspective. I have tried to map this out, bit by bit, played out as a chess game, kind of in my head, and see how far they're willing to go. If the vaccine passports pass and people accept them on the 13th of September in British Columbia, it will slowly decay from there. So if you are interested in truth, freedom, justice, becoming an altruistic, right? So living in service and purpose of your higher self, and you want to learn more about that, definitely check out www.thedailytaoist.com. There's some previous podcast episodes there, the YouTube channel. Check out my Twitter page at The Daily Taoist, Instagram, and Facebook. I'm currently working on a project in the Yukon Gold Partnership. If you want to be part of that, check out www.yukongoldenergy.com. And then, of course, my flagship podcast, The Doomer Bloomers. If you really want to help support and crowdfund all of this, go to www.doomerbloomerspodcast.com/support. Become a member, become a Patreon subscriber, either at the basic Alexa or coaching level, and I will be more than happy to get you started on the path. Once again, guys, thanks for listening, tuning in. Remember, violence is not the way of the Tao. It doesn't mean that you don't stand up for yourself. It just means that if you have an enemy, then you are truly really fighting yourself. A true Taoist does not have enemies, because if we start dehumanizing everybody, because that's exactly what is going to happen, right? They're going to be this type of person, this unvaccinated person. That's a dehumanizing way of looking at it, right? We are all God's creatures, God's creations. All human life has value. And this vaccine passport and vaccinations in general is just a way of creating more division. So remember that we're all united. If you're interested in learning more about that, join the All True Ubuntu United Network I'm creating. And remember to have yourself a great and prosperous day. Namaste, Will S.